too much reading between the lines, but he hasn't exactly been at the top of his game. Oh, there he is, Barrett Brooks. Good enough to hop aboard with us. All right, Barrett, I was just saying to Jeff, and I'll get both you guys' takes on it. If you agree that Zach Ertz to this point has been a little distant. He's not one of the guys. He's not in there high-fiving anybody or chest-bumping anybody, but he's going about his business because he's a professional and he's supposed to be there and he's not getting fined, and at least he's happy about that. Barrett, how much of an issue is this? Is this something that's going to peter out, that the further they get down the road, that Zach Ertz is going to realize, hey, I could be here all year. I better get involved. I better get to be part of this team and invested in it? Or do you think this is going to continue up until the day he's no longer an Eagle?
You know what? Strictly from a monetary perspective, of course he's going to love being here because he's going to make more money than he'll make anywhere else. But it's not all about money sometimes. But in Zach Ertz's case, I think it is about the money. That's why he wanted the new contract, and he wanted a little more of a sense that, all right, you guys want me here. But since they didn't go through with it, it's kind of like those three monkeys, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. He's not going to say anything about it. And that's exactly what it is. Zach Ertz is a professional. He understands what he brings. He's an asset. And his coaching staff understand he's an asset also. It's just the people upstairs in the organization don't want to pay that asset going into the future because they feel as though they have somebody else that can, take over at that spot. But, at the end of the day, they can run a lot of different personnel packages with him being on the field. He's still a threat. Teams still will game plan for him. And he understands how to play this game. So he's going to be okay. He's going to be good for this offense. He's going to be good for this young quarterback especially. That's one thing that I've seen about Jalen at this point. He likes to hold the ball a little bit. He needs to get better with his pre-snap. And until he does that, he's going to need a guy like Zach Ertz who understands how to get open, because we have young receivers, but we have veteran tight ends, and he's one of those guys that can get open. And when the ball gets to him, he'll be in a position to help that young quarterback out.
I kind of look at this too, like Xavien Howard in Miami. He wants a new contract or more guaranteed money, and I got to give Xavien Howard a lot of credit. He did not have to do this Saturday, but he went out and spoke to the media when the Dolphins asked him to, and he was probably as professional can be. Look, I'm not here because of my contract situation. I am here because I love my teammates. There's no riff with Brian Jones. There's really no riff with Brian Flores. This is up to the Miami Dolphins to get this thing right, or I don't want to be here. And he's done all the right things. He said all the right things. He said, there's no injury. I'm practicing today. They're just taking care of me. And, he's doing everything he needs to stay in Miami. And I love that approach by Xavien Howard. The only disagreement he had was, well, no, Brian Flores and I didn't speak today. We spoke yesterday. So I don't know where he's getting that from.
Yeah, and that's what it is. You have to be a pro about this whole situation. If Zach Ertz went somewhere else, he'd probably be making a little over the league minimum, probably around about $3 million. He stays here, he's going to get $7.8 million. He stands to make a lot more money here right now, so he's going to be here. But like I said, Coach Nick Sirianni, he understands that he still has a weapon in Zach Ertz, and he showed it in practice last week when I watched practice on Saturday. He had a long bomb in which he beat the DB. And he beat a DB, the slot receiver, slot defender, and took it for a touchdown.
Good for Zach Ertz. Glad to hear that. All right, Barrett, where we need your expertise more than anywhere else is, of course, on the offensive line. We were talking about this earlier. McMullen and I see this a little bit differently. Jeff's kind of in the middle on this one. Starting left tackle. I say that the offensive line coach, Mr. Stoutland, is going to rue the day. That he's going to be the one who's going to decide who the left tackle is, who's winning that competition, who should start week one. John kind of leans toward, you realize Howie Roseman used a first-round pick on this guy, and they're going to bend over backwards to give him every chance to win the job. You've had a chance to get some looks at practice so far. Give us your read on the left tackle competition, where it sits right now and where you think it's going.
Well, I was surprised. I think both of you guys are wrong on this.
Really? Let me hear it.
It's not Nick Stoutland. I don't think it's Howie Roseman either. I really think that if you look at it, Jordan Mailata is winning this battle. He's played better. He's done more things. He looks more polished as an offensive tackle. He looks better. He's playing better, period, point blank. At this point, Dillard is having a rough practice. He's having a rough camp, and he's not playing nearly as good as I thought he was going to play. But it might be just because Jordan Mailata is just playing a lot better than he is. And I'm not saying Jordan Mailata is blowing anybody out of the water, but he just looks more of a polished offensive tackle. He can protect the blind side of whoever the quarterback is. And that alone is going to allow him to play. He's just a better player. Dillard is just he's not playing strong enough. Not to say he's playing like he's soft, but he's not playing strong enough to be starting left tackle. And when you have somebody 6'8", 380 pounds who's now getting it and understands what it is to be an offensive lineman in the NFL now, he is playing a lot better. He has a lot more force behind his blocks. He's a lot more. You can see the intention of what he's doing now is NFL caliber. His intentions are, I'm going to be here as a starter. Now, he still smiles too much for me. He's still too happy for me. He's still the nicest guy in the world. But when he puts his hands on people, they know they're caught. They know that they're getting pushed around. Dillard is not that point. Even though he's a technician, he just doesn't play strong enough or stout enough to be that starting left tackle. So I think it's more so those two are the way they're playing is going to determine who's going to be the starter. And I think Jordan Mailata is stepping up a lot more than Andre Dillard.
Now, Barrett, this may be a little unorthodox here, but I was talking to Dalton Risner last week, and I was asking him about how much Garett Bolles has improved in Denver. And he said, Jeff, as a left guard, you can really tell who the better left tackle is in a camp competition based on slide protections and where they can protect the gap and how the quarterback's reacting. Do you think the Eagles should maybe – I know he hasn't practiced, but maybe they should ask, Nate Herbig, Isaac Seumalo, see which one is kind of the better left tackle at this point?
I don't think necessarily that, you'd even get a real answer out of them. They wouldn't, they're talking about one of their teammates. What you will see is what you just explained. You'll see the way the protection is sent. You'll see how and what type of protections, how they're trying to take advantage of the defense. And a lot of the times you try to cover up from the weak offensive lineman. There's no weak offensive lineman when Jordan Mailata's in the game. They can run whatever they want to run. They can run, with a purpose of trying to take advantage of something, not to keep them from being taken advantage of. You can run a play to take advantage of what the defense is, or who's the lesser of the defensive ends as far as run blocking potential and pass blocking potential. But you can also run plays to hide an offensive tackle too. And they're not running plays to hide him when Jordan Mailata's out there. They can run plays specific for seeing how to take apart a defense. I don't know if you could do that with Dillard. They would have to send help his way. They would have to slide the line that way. So, the coaching staff, you'll see what the coaching staff is running, in these games to really give you an accurate barometer. Not who's starting, but what plays they're calling to show you what and who is going to be the guy that's going to be starting come Sunday.
Barrett, let me tap into your offensive line insight to talk about the defensive line. Barrett Brooks, at the top of his game, who would you have a harder time with these days, Josh Sweat or Derek Barnett?
At this point, Josh Sweat is becoming a player, a really good player. He showed a one-hand stab against Dillard, and Dillard couldn't recover from it. And this is during the not the individual drills. This wasn't one-on-ones. This was during when they're trying to run plays, and he just totally just bulldozed Dillard on the play. Now they couldn't even finish the play out, and he is really refining who he is as a defensive end. He's going to be a guy who's going to make a lot of reps, and you're going to see a lot of this going on because he is definitely played. He's definitely playing at a high level. I love that. I love his sack dance. When he throws the sweat off of him. Well, you're going to see a lot of that. He had an impressive camp, and it started last year. He started playing better and better, and now you can see the confidence in it. He still has a little bit of a limp in that knee. You can tell the knee still bothers him, but it still doesn't change the fact he's become a lot more explosive, getting off the ball, explosive with his hands. His intention is to get to the quarterback, and he's doing that very, very well right now. So I love the way this kid is playing. I think he's playing, on the same level as Barnett. Now, Barnett's, a little more crafty just because, he's a little more healthier. But as far as production, Sweat's going to have a lot of production in this coming season.
It seems like Milton Williams, too, is really polished for a rookie third-round pick. I know.
Quick. Oh, my God. Yep.
Yeah.
He's getting off the line, man. He's looking really good, man. I'm glad you brought him up because during one-on-ones, he just showed his versatility. He did both rush. He beat the guard off quickness. Then he went right back in and beat him with power. A bull rush. Beat him with power. Now all this stuff looks well with no pads on because I haven't seen him in pads. But right now, those two are looking really, really good on the defensive line.
Barrett, early on, first week of practice, the Eagles had a practice that lasted less than an hour and a half. As a guy who was in the league when they actually practiced, what did you say when you found out they had a 75-minute practice?
I immediately thought that I could still be playing now. I got drafted in 95. What I'd be going into.
You could go for 75, right, Barrett?
Oh, my goodness. I'd be going into year 21, 22, 23, if I only had an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes for practice. Yeah, it was shocking to me because when the horn blew up and they called him up, I started looking around like this can't be the end of practice. I mean, it's to the point now that you can't be late for practice because if you do, you might miss practice. So it's the CBA. I understand it's not because I remember when my first camp, we were in Lehigh, no, we were in Westchester. I'm sorry, Westchester. I was in Westchester my first camp. And I can remember, we had two practices. The first practice was 3 hours. The second practice was 2.5 hours. Full pads, and you would get in shape that way. If you don't come in shape now, you're not going to get in shape because at this point, you don't do enough to really get your body in football shape. I don't know how they're going to play. And they did it last year. They've shown that they can do it, man, but I don't see how they're playing and going full speed when you're not getting the reps to get your body used to being hit, used to, going full speed. Those are all things. You can run around all day. You can do all kind of drills all day. But until you start hitting and moving a 400-pound person that's in front of you in pads, you never get a sense on if you're ready to do that. I don't see how they're going to do it, but hey, they proved that they could do it. They did it last year and the year before. So we'll see how they look going into the season.
Tell you what, Barrett, I've never seen this before. And when I was a kid, I went to Eagles training camp all the time. I was at Lehigh, and I never saw Andy Reid stop a practice. I would go to both practices. From what I know, Chip Kelly has never done this, and I'm pretty sure.
Right.
So when Nick Sirianni did that, what were you thinking to yourself?
Well, I started looking around like, did I miss? I came late or something? What's going on? I mean, is this practice really over? And a lot of the riders looked at me like, well, yeah, I guess it is over. But, it's the new wave. This is new coaching staff. And I will tell you this. There is a lot of enthusiasm. Nobody walks around. They're full speed reps. And when they're going, they're going. They're going hard and they're going fast. And you can tell the intensity of what's going on in practice. It's very intense. They're coaching every guy. And I love that aspect of this coaching staff. They're coaching each and every guy, not just the veteran players who are going to be playing, but even the young players. Each coach is grabbing their guys, and after each play, he's telling. Even Stoutland's changing his coaching style a little bit. He's always been an aggressive coach, but he's even a little more aggressive. But you can tell that these guys are going 100%. They're going fast. There's an intensity in the practice. There's an enthusiasm in the practice. I love that aspect of it. Everything is what you want from a team and understanding and buying into what the coaching staff wants them to do, and they're doing it.
Barrett, last one. You just talked about the coaching staff. Let me take it a step further about Coach Gannon, your defensive coordinator. He's starting to let little things out in his media sessions. He's not going to give you his full game plan, that's for sure, but he's being as forthright as he can be. They're going to do things differently than they did under Jim Schwartz here, and they're going to do things that are going to try and catch the other team off guard, that he believes deception and keeping things under wraps is a way that you can cause some of those turnovers that he seems to be striving for. He's talking a good game. Are you seeing that out in the field when you've been in practice?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do see it. He's mixing up coverages. And I'm telling you, a lot of the veteran players are going and getting more work than the younger players. I mean, you have guys like Nelson and you know, guys like Slay that are doing work after practice, going and grabbing Gannon after practice, and they go through stuff. You know, their DB coach, they go through stuff. And you could see the nature of how they're trying to, you know, create turnovers. Every single play, they're trying to knock the ball out. They're trying to make sure they go out and be physical with the play. They're using their technique. And if the coach says inside out, they're tackling inside out, waiting for reinforcements to come. You know, I can't see the blitzing stuff. I've seen the blitzing, but, you know, I do think they're going to blitz a lot because, you know, he's one of those guys, he wants to be very aggressive. You can tell the way the DBs are, they're being very, very aggressive. They're trying to punch balls out. You know, there's an intent, a definite intent to create turnovers. Even in practice, I watched on Saturday, they knocked the ball out, you know, during practice out of the quarterback's hand. And usually, you know, you can't do that. But, I mean, they went with the pass rush, knocked the ball out of the quarterback's hand, and they didn't blow the whistle and stop. They let them go get it too, you know. So that's the intensity that Gannon is giving his team. You can see the intensity of his defense, and that's going to be huge. That's going to be big for this defense. Turnovers is something that they're working at every single play, from the DBs to the D-line and definitely with the linebackers.
Barrett, great stuff. We appreciate you coming on. The only downside of doing this YouTube thing is you can't actually give Eitan Shander a forearm shiver. So give it to him verbally today. On the
I was going to give him a one-hand stab with it, you know, pass rush move or maybe a swim move a little bit, you know, but I'll try to get him going.
Please do that for us. Barrett.
Yep. There we go, man. Well, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it.
Barrett, no, thank you. Appreciate you hopping on with us. Barrett Brooks, you'll catch him on the middle coming up a couple hours down the road here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Speaking of JAKIB Media, the big boss, Joe Kraus, is going to hop in for me. He's going to take you home with Jeff Kerr. So you got JK and JK. Usually it's JM and JM, but the last 20 minutes today is going to be JK and JK. So you want to keep it right here on Birds 365.
Today's show on the JAKIB Media channel. Listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.